Salutations, my dearest friends. My name is Samantha and welcome back to Trope Week. If you don't know what Trope Week is, every day for an entire week I pick one specific romance book trope and I give you a bunch of book recommendations for an entire week. Today we are going to be talking about the grumpy sunshine trope. Hello, how are you? Welcome or welcome back to my channel. I'm super excited to be filming today's video. It is another installment of Trope Week. I have a whole playlist of all of the Trope Weeks that I've done on my channel, which is like 30 plus videos, a dozen different tropes. I'm going to be collabing with my good friend Averie from avasromancebooks, whom I love dearly. Also insanely talented. So that intro you saw in the beginning of my channel, she made that for me. She also does bookmarks and YouTube banners and really cool art. So if you want to check out some of the stuff she's made, I will leave her Etsy shop down below so you guys can check it out. Following Averie by now, I don't know what to tell you. She is a delight. She is sunshine in a bottle in human form. So I will leave her channel down below. Make sure to watch her video, follow her, and let's go ahead and talk about the grumpy sunshine trope. This is a trope that I actually really love, the grumpy sunshine trope. It's like an opposites attract situation. One character that's super grumpy, hates everyone, hates the entire world, and the world down except the person that they're in love with. And then you have our other character who is just like bubbly and sunshine and the complete opposite. And that pairing is always so incredibly cute. Okay, so the first one I want to talk about is where the heroine is the grumpy one. When I tell you I love that more than a grumpy hero, there's nothing more that I love than either a submissive hero or a golden retriever hero. His energy is just like electric and he's bubbly and he's the sunshine, and our heroine is the dominant or grumpy one. Stop it right now. I love that with all my heart, body, and soul, and I feel like we don't get that enough because it's usually the hero that's the grumpy one. First one I want to talk about is Home Game by Odette Stone, and this was a recommendation that I got from Jessica from Peaceful Books. I was picking up some hockey romances for another video that you're going to see this week. She recommended me this one, and I love it. I love it so much. I love it so much. It's amazing. It's wonderful. It's divine. This is a second book in like a hockey romance series, but you can definitely read it out of order because this is the first book I started with. It follows Ryan and Zoe. Ryan ends up meeting our heroine in a coffee shop. He is a famous hockey player and he is doing his taxes in the coffee shop and he's having a hard time. He really is. So our heroine can see that he is struggling and ends up helping him like file his taxes and ends up doing him a favor in this coffee shop, but she's running super late to somewhere that she has to go. She feels bad because she's running late because of him, and he ends up taking her where she needs to go, which turns out to be a homeless shelter. She is going through a really hard time. She does not have a home. She lost both of her parents and she's just going through a rough time. She ends up late at this homeless shelter and they don't let her in, and our hero feels so guilty because it's kind of his fault that she's late. So he ends up giving her like a business card, something to call him if she's ever in trouble and needs help. Well, she ends up getting hurt. I don't want to do too many spoilers, but she ends up getting hurt. She goes to the hospital. The only thing they could find on her is his business card. So Ryan ends up going to the hospital and he just feels like he wants to help this girl. So he ends up helping her, help her get back on her feet. She's been living on the street for a while. She's seen a lot of bad stuff, a lot of trauma. So she's very hesitant to Ryan's help. He's just like this bubbly, outgoing, rich, very rich hockey player who gives off golden retriever energy. He just loves making her happy and he is the definition of a good guy. Heroine is a little grumpy and reluctant to his help, which understandably so, and it's such an adorable pairing. This is a friends to lovers slow burn romance. It is pretty slow burn. It is pretty slow burn, but I love the way that the relationship panned out. I love the respect and the friendship that they had for one another. So divine. I love this pairing so much. Next one, where it has a grumpy heroine and a sunshine hero, is Broken Vow by Sophie Lark. This is the 5th book in the Brutal Birthright series, and it is better if you read the series in order. I mean, I guess you could pick up this book and kind of follow along, but I just think that Sophie Lark, the way she writes her stories, all of her characters do kind of connect, and it's such a beautiful character arc when you read all of them in order, and I could talk about her books endlessly. One of my favorite authors. I literally got 2 bookish tattoos related to this series. That's how much I'm obsessed with it. That's how much I love it. This was Riona Griffin. She is the definition of a badass bitch. She's a girl boss. She is this renowned lawyer and she's just awesome. I love her character. She's so strong, so independent, but she has a stalker. So someone is stalking her and she is in danger. Her and her family are very worried for her. So that is where Raylan comes in. Raylan was in the military with one of her brothers and ends up owing her brother a favor. So he ends up kind of like being her bodyguard. This is a bodyguard romance. And when I tell you, He gives off golden retriever energy. So grumpy. She's not looking for any type of relationship, and he is not even phased. He is hilarious. He is confident. He is sexy. It's just the definition of a grumpy sunshine pairing. They're spending a lot of time together because he is her bodyguard and looking after her. I love how he protects her. I love how he cares for her. I love how he supports her independence. Everything about this book is literally perfect. Perfect. I recommend it. Highly recommend this whole series. Since we're talking about this series, I do want to talk about Stolen Heir, which is my favorite book of the series. This is the second book in the series, and this one is the one I have a tattoo for. I don't know if you can see it. Oh yeah, you can't see it because my shirt's in the way. I have a little ballerina tattoo right on the back of my arm with some chains around the hands and like stars and moon detailing, and that is for Stolen Heir because the cover is a ballerina. Our main character is a ballerina. This one is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and it is a grumpy hero, sunshine heroine. Hero kidnaps our heroine. Yeah, he does. So some stuff happens in the first book where our hero is very jaded and he wants revenge against the Italian mafia and the Irish mafia. So he ends up kidnapping the Irish mafia's youngest daughter, the ballerina, and she's like the pride and joy of the Irish mafia. So he ends up kidnapping her to hold her for ransom, to get back her family and like kill and murder her family. But they fall in love. He ends up taking her to like this gothic mansion and they just form a connection that is sweepingly romantic. I think this is probably one of the most romantic books I've ever read. Ever read. Hence the reason I got it tattooed on my body. Let's talk about some novellas. So the first one is called Honeythorn by Marina Vivancos, and this is a male-male Omegaverse romance. If you don't know what Omegaverse is, I have a whole video on my channel. I talk about it quite often because it's one of my favorite tropes. It's kind of like a shifter werewolf romance, but they don't actually shift, but they have a hierarchy of alphas, omegas, and betas, and it very much leans into that soulmate, fated mates energy. This is a male-male romance, so our heroes come from two different kingdoms. One comes from like a winter kingdom, another comes from like a summer kingdom, getting paired together as a political marriage. Omega is the sunshine in this situation, and he ends up going to his alpha's kingdom to live there. He's in this unknown land, and his alpha is as cold as the weather. I had a bond mate before where it wasn't a really good relationship, and he is completely jaded and not really looking for a new Omega, and he treats our Omega so poorly. A lot of trauma that he's working through, and he's not really able to open up, and he's literally the definition of a grumpy hero. Our Omega in this book literally shines, is the saving grace of this book because his personality just literally shines through the pages, and he like breaks down that icy exterior of his alpha. This one is so angsty, literally so angsty. Vivancos is probably one of my new favorite novella authors. I cannot sing her praises enough. I need to do a whole video on her books because I think they're phenomenal and so underrated. They're all on Kindle Limited and they're all fabulous, but they're all very angsty and very emotional, and that's definitely what this book is. But when I tell you the ending was so satisfying and perfect, I love this book so much. Next two books that I want to talk about are also novellas, and they're by Casey Mintz. So the first one is called Silver Fox, and this is an age gap office romance. So our heroine is a secretary for our hero. They work at like this big corporation, and he is known as this business tycoon who literally hates everyone. He is ruthless in the boardroom, hates everyone and everything except our heroine. Of course, he loves our heroine. He cherishes her. They have had an attraction to one another since they started working together, but they've never wanted to push those boundaries and ruin their work relationship. But of course, they fall for each other and it follows their romance. It is adorable. The next one is called Sweet Tooth by Casey Mintz, and this one is also kind of an office romance. Our hero is a grumpy, ruthless lawyer, and he works for this huge law firm that he's trying to become partner with, and one of the tasks that his boss ends up settling him with to watch his niece. Boss's niece is doing like this startup company for cake pops and baked goods, and she really just needs a place to work and also kind of be guided to how to start this small business. And he basically gets tasked of like being her babysitter, if I'm being completely honest, and he hates it. He thinks it's beneath him. He doesn't want to watch her. It's an age gap romance as well. And our heroine is that sunshine heroine that everybody cannot help but love, and they fall for each other in this like office romance dynamic. It is so freaking cute. Oh my gosh, I forgot this one when I'm mentioning grumpy heroine. So this one is technically a Christmas romance, but this whole series follows holidays. So you have Christmas, New Year's, Valentine's Day, etc., etc. But you can really read it any time of the year. This one is called Stocking Stuffers. The heroine sells sex toys, and she ends up doing this presentation at a hotel for a book club, a romance book club. Our hero is a part of that book club. He reads romance books, and he is there as they are snowed in at this hotel during the Christmas time. Now, our heroine is literally the definition of Scrooge. She hates Christmas. They have a really bad relationship. She was supposed to get married on Christmas Day, and her fiance left her at the altar. So of course she hates love, she hates Christmas, she hates everything, but our hero loves Christmas. He's all about it. He reads romance books. He has golden retriever energy. He's a submissive hero. Everything about him is perfect, divine, wonderful, and they end up getting stuck and snowed in at this hotel together and having a fun, steamy time and playing with all the toys that she bought. So, okay, moving on, let's talk about some historicals. So the first one is If the Duke Demands by Anna Harrington. Heroine is in love with her best friend, or so she thinks. Her best friend is hosting this masquerade ball, and she ends up dressing up all seductive, has a mask. She tries to sneak into his room to have a steamy time. Well, my friends. She sneaks into the wrong room. Scandalous. And she actually sneaks into the room of his older brother. And they have like a steamy moment until they realize who they are. Sebastian is the Duke of the family. He ends up making a deal with our heroine that he is going to help her get the attention of his brother. Super grumpy. He doesn't want to be a duke. His father passed away very suddenly, so this title and nobility was kind of like thrust upon him. He doesn't want to get married. He doesn't want to have kids. He is a big old grump. And our heroine is literally sunshine incarnate. She is a hopeless romantic. Everybody who meets her loves her. And as they are trying to like set her up with a brother, she ends up falling for our hero. And it's real cute. It's real cute. One of my favorite historicals. This was another one that was recommended to me by Jessica from Piece of Books. So shout out to Jessica for all of the amazing recs. The next one is A Beastly Kind of Earl by Mia Vinci. And this is another Beauty and the Beast retelling. Our heroine Thea is kind of the black sheep of her family. In a situation where her reputation was absolutely ruined by a bunch of lies that men spread about her. And her younger sister is destined to be married to an earl who is like notorious for like being not that great. Okay, there's all these rumors about this earl. Sister does not want to marry him. She is in love with someone else. Our heroine Thea has an idea. Oh, that rhymed. Our heroine Thea is a little bit of a trickster. Okay, so she decides that she wants to pretend to be her sister, to let her sister marry who she wants to marry, and she's going to pretend to marry this earl, and she's going to use the status and the nobility and the money to clear her name. She's an author, and she's going to write her truth in a book, and she's going to clear her name, but she has to pretend to be her sister, yada yada yada. Well, our hero can see right through her lies, but he also has ulterior motives. He needs money, shmoney, to get his inheritance. It is in his inheritance that he has to be married to get the money, and because his last wife died, I feel like I'm just telling you guys this whole book. I'm trying not to spoil it, but you need to see the whole picture. His last wife died, so he needs to get remarried. So he knows Thea's lying to him, but he really doesn't care because he's playing his own games too, and they end up falling for each other. Beauty and the Beast retelling. Heroine is the sunshine one, hero is the grumpy one, and this is such an underrated historical romance. Mia Vinci is such a phenomenal writer, and I wish she wrote more. I think she's only written like 3 books, and I just need dozens more. The next one is not a historical, it's a contemporary, and this is kind of a novella as well. It's just under 200 pages and it's on Kindle Limited. It's the Meet Cute Club by Jack Carbon. Our hero Jordan is a hopeless romantic. He runs a book club that reads romance books, and he loves everything happily ever after, romance, all of that fun stuff like us. Our other hero Rex is kind of a pessimist, and he makes fun of romance books and happily ever afters, but he ends up joining Jordan's book club. Kind of like an enemies to lovers slash opposites attract. Our heroes is a hopeless romantic sunshine hero, and the other hero is a super grumpy pessimist hero, but they end up reading books and kind of bonding over that, and it's such a cute romance. I think Jack Carbon is also another phenomenal writer, so yeah, check out that one. I believe it's also on Kindle Limited. Okay, so those are all of the recommendations. I could totally do a part 2 to this video. I just feel like I've been blabbing forever, so if you want to see another video and more recommendations, let me know, but also go watch Averie's video to get more recommendations. See how this works? Okay, so I love you guys. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend time with me. It means the world to me. I hope you guys are all staying happy and healthy, and I will see you in tomorrow's video.